To the battle between the tech giants and the Indian government. The Indian government has responded a strong statement indeed to WhatsApp after the Facebook-owned messaging app filed a legal complaint in the Delhi High Court recently. The Indian government has now issued a strong statement in which it says, and I quote, "The government respects the right of privacy and has no intention to violate it when WhatsApp is required to disclose the origin of a particular message. The Government of India recognizes that right to privacy is a fundamental right and is committed to ensure the same to its citizens as per all established judicial dictum. However, no fundamental right, including the right to privacy, is absolute and it is subject to reasonable restrictions. The requirements in the intermediary guidelines pertaining to the first originator of information are an example of such a reasonable restriction." That is a statement coming from the Indian government in its response to WhatsApp. The government also said that the rules have been framed in consultation with social media platforms, including WhatsApp, and no such objection was raised by WhatsApp with regard to sharing details of the first originator of content since 2018. India's IT Minister Ravi Shankar Prasad said that WhatsApp has to follow the law of the land, and WhatsApp's refusal to comply with the new guidelines is a clear act of defiance. Earlier, WhatsApp, in its lawsuit against the government, claimed that the new rules or guidelines would compel the California-based Facebook unit to break its privacy protection for users and violate the Indian constitution laws. So what are these new rules and why have they led to the standoff between the government and big tech? Well, the new rules issued by the Indian government are called the Intermediary Guidelines and Digital Media Ethics Code. Firstly, the rules would oblige big tech to reveal the originator of a message or post when legally ordered. Secondly, to remove any content within 36 hours of receiving a legal order. And thirdly, companies would be required to assist in probes or other cybersecurity-related incidents within 72 hours of such a request. Next, social media platforms are also required to disable within 24 hours any post depicting an individual in a sexual act. And lastly, big tech would be required to set up a grievance redressal mechanism and appoint executives to coordinate with law enforcement agencies. The deadline for big tech to comply has ended and the rules come into effect from today. Social media platforms such as Twitter, Facebook and WhatsApp have failed to comply on many accounts till date. Our principal diplomatic correspondent, Siddhant Sibil, is now joining us live from New Delhi for more on this story. Siddhant, thanks for joining us. Social media platforms have been abuzz with speculation if the Facebook-owned WhatsApp and Instagram will stop working from them from today. The Indian government has also responded, in fact, a very strong statement coming in to WhatsApp's privacy concerns. Tell us more about this.
Well, Priyanka, battle lines have been drawn by the social media companies and the Indian government. This is not just a one-off event. We have seen in the last 6 months there have been a number of instances in which there have been run-ins between social media apps and, of course, the Indian government. But what has happened today is significant in terms of today is the day when the IT rules, which the Indian government had announced in February, comes into effect. A 3-month period was given to all social media companies to implement the new compliances, which of course you have talked about, the appointment of officers. And of course, the key issue today is that the first originator, the first message should be able to be detected by any social media app. On the basis of that, now WhatsApp has gone to the Indian courts, to Delhi High Court, filing a writ petition. Now the WhatsApp has been saying that this is a violation of fundamental rights, the fundamental right of privacy, because that means going through the messages and finding out who sent the first message. This has been dismissed in the last 30 minutes by the Indian government here in a very, very strong statement, mincing no words, saying that there is no violation. There are obviously reasonable restrictions to every fundamental right. No fundamental right is absolute. This is what the Indian government has said. And in fact, the Indian government has, in that very lengthy press statement, talked about international precedences from countries like the US, UK, right, New Zealand, Canada, in fact, Brazil as well. So it looks like it will be a long legal battle. And of course, the social media companies will be facing heat here in India.
Right, Siddhant, what lies ahead in the battle between tech giants and the Indian government? Google, of course, has said that it will comply with the guidelines to a certain extent. Will we see others following suit? And how likely is it at this point that these platforms will stop working for the massive database of Indian users?
Well, as of now, it doesn't look like that there will be an overnight ban. These apps will be stopped. It is, as of now, looking very difficult. It will, of course, expected to be a political call largely. But talking about what next, it is a long legal battle. As of now, the legal battle is with WhatsApp when it comes to this particular case. But it looks like the other apps might be having the collateral damage in terms of no one, barring one app, that is the Indian social media app Coup, that has implemented the compliance laws. Rest of these apps haven't implemented these laws. So as of now, if there is a violation under these rules, anyone, whether the government or any citizen of India, can take these apps to the court, and under the law they can face criminal charges. Now that, of course, remains in a territory which is right now, as of now, in a speculative territory. But I do think that there could be some instance where there is a case of hate speech, and then, of course, these apps being dragged to the court. So this is expected to happen in the realm of legality. But as of now, there will be no ban even under the rules if these rules are applied.
Right, Siddhant, thank you so much for all your inputs, and thank you for joining us on this broadcast. WION World is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news updates on the move.